Greetings and welcome back to episode 4 of Exio Plays Spyro the Dragon in the Poly Station. In the last episode, we kicked off Magic Crafters and finished off Peacekeepers. And oh, did you see that? I guess the Ice Wizards and the Druids don't like each other very much. Even if these enemies aren't very hard to take down, they're at least interesting. These ice guys can actually put a hurt on you as well. And it's the only time where the strafe feature really comes. Okay, I couldn't see that. That wasn't fair. But, you know, obviously, for some reason, in Spyro 1, Spyro has a strafe ability, which I guess would be useful for dodging projectiles, but I can't think of a single time I've ever used it. In the second and third, all the other games don't have that. So I've never really felt an impulse to, you know, make it work better because I seem to get by just fine without it. Let me get that real quick. So yeah, like I said, like I was starting to get at is the platforming is very much about timing your glides more so than it is, like with Crash, it's very much about precision. It's about and timing as well. It's more about thinking about, okay, I'm playing Sunset Vista, for example. I gotta make sure I jump on top of the platforms, gotta make sure I avoid the enemies and jump over them properly. I've gotta make jumps with pinpoint accuracy, and the controls are designed to reflect that kind of, you know, mentality, which is a very 2D game design kind of platforming, when you think about it. And that works in that game, even if the controls aren't my favorite, and even if the game itself is not one of my favorites. But with Spyro, it's less about precision and timing and all that kind of stuff, and just more about finding ways to get around the level. Okay, the sound cutting out is starting to annoy me. What is it about this level that my EVPs don't like?
Oh, thank you for releasing me.
Oh, you're welcome. But I digress. So lost my train of thought, and the fucking sound cut out again! It's probably only noticeable because I keep drawing attention to it. It must be something about how the OSSC's audio board tries to sync audio to video. And hey, I didn't know that TWIP was in this game. Sonic Forces is fucking broken! It's fucking broken, mate! And that one looks like Retropolis Zone. He's telling me to get over 480i. Exio, 480i is a fact of life. You can't do anything about it. You just need to get over it. The PS2 will never have 480p universal support. No matter how much you try to soft mod or hardware mod it. That's just how the games were built. The best you can do is use your Frame Meister. That's the best it gets, Exio. The dream will live on! I will never accept 480i as one of my sons. 480i is a blight upon this earth, and I was put on this earth to wipe it out. If I could go back in time, I would go up to the Sony suits that were designing and improving everything for the PS2 and say, hey, you know that 480i thing? Maybe don't do that.
Remember that these blue thieves haven't stolen eggs only in the magic. Don't worry.
That's annoying. When I do the next section, I'll try the other audio route. Maybe, I don't know, maybe even the sync will be better with that. Regardless, when I say that I would tell them not to do the 480i thing, I mean, obviously there's no way around that, but I'd basically tell them to have universal 480p support for the PS2. Spend the extra money on that. Design your hardware architecture so that 480i didn't have such a stranglehold on PS2 graphical design. Annoys the hell out of me. 480i is something that became instantly dated the moment that digital displays came out. And it means that basically every game on the PS2, with the exception of a few heavy hitters that had the foresight to include 480p, don't look good anymore unless you still own a CRT, which if you do, it's fine enough, but I don't, and they're hard to come by.
Great work, Spyro. If you keep this up, you'll learn all the tricks of the Magic Crafter world.
That dragon is my favorite named in the game, by the way. Maybe it's because he shares one of my names, that's all I'm saying. But I don't know. I don't like 480i. Even with the Framemeister's special smart adaptive motion deinterlacing, can't quite get over it. Can't quite accept it. And you know, thankfully this game runs at a progressive image, otherwise I'd probably have to kill myself. Regardless, we have completed this level, so we can move on to the next one. And as you can see, the theme, compared to Spyro 2 and 3, where with Spyro 2 and 3, every level is pretty distinct, visually and in terms of what you do in it, and structurally. With Spyro 1, one of its weaknesses is that the levels feel pretty samey. By comparison, I mean. It's fine in the context of this game, and I actually kind of like that. Hey, we're going to here's the Green Plains world. We're going to be doing a bunch of Green Plains level. Hey, here's the Desert Canyon world. We're going to go to a bunch of deserts and canyons. And in Magic Crafters, the idea, the theme here is mountains and, you know, hills and inclines and cliffs and caves. That's what we're doing here. So this level is pretty fun in my opinion. I think it's called High Cliffs or Tall Cliffs or something along those lines. And right off the bat, if we're talking about exploration and 3D level design, right off the bat you're given the choice of climbing up over here or going through the caves. And for the sake of completing the stage faster, you want to go this way first. Hopefully the stupid... I hate... Whoever this enemy is right here, he's a big asshole. This is probably the only instance in the game where the enemy placement is bad. Because I swear, like, you have no choice but to let him hit you like 3 times while you're trying to get up. But I don't know, there's probably some way to avoid it, if I cared to figure out what it is. Yeah, so you want to go up this way first, because the caves is better played in reverse, as you'll see later on. Get that butterfly and talk to this Dagron here.
Please do something about these green druids. They insist on moving everything in sight.
Alright. So the druids, as you can see, are those guys over there. Yeah, we've talked about them before, but their gimmick, as you can see, is that they like to move around parts of the stage, like in Alpine Ridge, they moved that staircase so that you had to time your jumps accordingly. Yeah. Like I said, platforming is pretty basic in the traditional 2D obstacle course sense, but in the exploration sense, it's really well done. Like right here. From that cliff, we could make it over here to find these gems that we wouldn't be able to get otherwise. That's where the platforming really shines, is in thinking about how to progress and how to complete the stage. Not so much in the traditional you time this jump properly kind of sense.
Try combining supercharge with jumping and gliding, and really explore the high caves.
And there's the game giving you that extra nudge to think about that kinds of platforming. I really think Spyro the Dragon is like a timeless, kind of almost a masterpiece in some ways. This game just pretty much has everything that I could possibly want. It has high replay value, it has a good completionist factor, it has a good speedrunning factor. I know, I guess the story is not the greatest ever. Could have been better, I guess. Could have been more interesting and more narrative, more character-driven.
I hate those bugs. When I become big and strong, like you, I'll squash them all.
Until then, remember that supercharge makes you invincible.
There's the game's hint about what to do in regards to certain enemies we haven't actually seen yet. See that big stag beetle over there? He's covered in metal, so we can't flame him, and he's too big to charge. So we're screwed. Except there's a supercharge over here. Now, I've kind of alluded to what this does, but these are the power-ups in Spyro the Dragon. There aren't too many of them, but there are only really two now that I think about it. That's Supercharge and Super Flame, which isn't very common. Power-ups become more standardized in Spyro 2 and onward, and they're much better utilized, but you know, in terms of progression and exploration and trying to get everything out of the stage, you really do have to make the utmost use of these power-ups. So this is where more of that kind of Crash sort of platforming comes into play, while sort of mixing with the exploration kind of platforming. Because right here we've got to make a very specific jump and think about how we want to get over here. And thankfully those three fairies are here in the pit, so when you fall in, they just automatically take you back up to the top of the supercharge, which I appreciate. That's how, like I said, Spyro is designed in a way that does not waste your time. In a lesser game, they wouldn't have bothered. They would have made me climb all the way back over there every single time, and that would have been irritating. So thank you for not doing that, Spyro the Dragon. Thank you for not doing that. Let me grab some of these gems real quick. Let's see. Kill this thief and grab the egg. I don't know, the whole thief egg thing is pretty self-explanatory. You have to, it's basically trying to get you to try to be fast and try to track down the thief. These are probably the easiest thieves to catch in the entire Spyro series. Just because they're so slow and there's always some trick to get them really fast. Whereas the thieves in Spyro 2 and 3, the ones in 2 look different, but they behave on the same idea where they have some MacGuffin you gotta catch them. And yeah. And they're I don't know, they're really easy to catch in this game, but in the second and third games, you have to have more knowledge of the level layout to actually catch them. And believe it or not, after this point, we aren't going to be seeing any more egg thieves. We'll see a couple thieves that have like gems, but we won't be seeing eggs after this point in the game. So I'm kind of, which is something I don't understand. Like, they're only in half the game for some reason. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss any of these gems before we go after that thief for real. We got all the gems. Now we gotta go over here and kill this guy, and then we can go after the caves and the beetles real quick. Because after all, those giant beetles can be a damn nuisance. And if you got that joke, then congratulations, you have won an unconditional EPG fan club card. Because I'm sure that even, I don't know, Eric, my brother, would probably recognize that reference. Maybe Jeb would, just through osmosis, through me and Eric, but as you can see, you can run right through them, which is the easiest way to go about it. But that beetle over there we can't get yet, and they will kick your ass too. So don't stand around and let those beetles come after you. Like they charge like a bat out of hell and come straight forward. Make sure that you kill the druids first before trying anything else. Otherwise, they will close the caves and make it so that basically give the beetles a chance to catch up with you. Alright, so we can kill these two beetles up top using the Super Flame ability, which Super Flame can kill armored enemies and can break metal objects as well. Now the other beetles we can't really get easily with the Super Flame, so we gotta settle for the Supercharge, run through the Supercharge thing and come down here. Basically, try to take the route that kills the beetles. And now that the beetles are gone, we can collect the rest of the treasure in this cave without fear of getting killed. And they're pretty much done with this level at this point. Like, I think tall caves or high caves or whatever this level is called, high caves is one of the best levels in the game. In terms of platforming and exploration and thinking about how you can defeat enemies and all that kinds of good stuff. This is a good blueprint for Spyro levels, I think. That's what makes this game fun to play. That's what makes the series, this makes the genre very fun to play. Unless if you're missing exactly one gem and you don't know precisely where it is. This could have been a perfect run, perfect speed run of the stage, but I had to fucking miss one. Maybe it's up here? I do find you go a little faster if you jump while dashing. I'm not really sure if that's true, it just feels that way in my heart. Maybe it's in one of those upper platforms. Can't be over here, I got everything. Alright, well, I don't know. I guess we'll cut to when I find it. Unless if it's really soon, in which case, not. Oh wait, it's over there! Ah! I made it. Alright, there it is. We got it. Now we're done, we can leave. Whew! That was a close one.
Almost lost my cool there.
What's the deal with Pickle Rick? That's kind of, random, I guess, but... Fucking... I can't go anywhere on the internet without seeing Pickle Rick pop up. And I read, like, a description for that episode, and I'm like... So he turns himself into a pickle, and he makes, like, arms and legs out of deceased rats, which is fucking disgusting. Then he teams up with some kind of mercenary to destroy the KGB. That's the episode. Or rather, I think it's supposed to be the B plot of the episode. The A plot is Rick and Morty, or I'm sorry, Morty and his sister and his mother going to group therapy. And Rick doesn't come because he's turned into a pickle. And they're not sure if he turned himself into a pickle just because he didn't want to go to group therapy. I've never seen an episode of Rick and Morty in my life, by the way. I'm sure it's a fine show. Fans really seem to like that Mulan sauce. Like, it's like a big meme for some reason that Rick likes Szechuan sauce. And it got so big that people were like being assholes at their local McDonald's because they wanted to try this terrible sauce so badly. Apparently it tastes like shit. I don't know, the internet makes no sense. I'm gonna retry this. I was trying to be clever, but it didn't work in my favor. Like I said, you gotta find the right... There's only really one sequence that you do all of this stuff in that lets you beat the stage all in one run. I was trying to speed it up by going in reverse so I could kill them faster, because if you're going in the opposite direction they're going, then you'll catch up to them quicker. But in doing so, I missed one and sort of derailed the whole thing. Like I've been getting at, you've only got so much time because you got to keep getting objects to keep your time up, and that fucked me over in the end. Which is why I prefer the Spyro 3 approach to it, where you just have all the time from the beginning and, you know, you get gems directly. But whatever. Let's kill these biplanes real quick. Yeah. But... Lost my train of thought. Probably something about 480i, but I'm not... Oh god. That meme has gone out of control. It's only really a meme in my little circle of the internet. I can't seem to go anywhere without 480i coming up. Like, Metropolis Zone has a server, and the main chat room for that is called hashtag 480i is cancerous. That's how much of a meme that has become for me in this living nightmare I call my life. And that dithering looks great, I gotta say. Not that you guys care. I'm gonna take that fucker. Alright, so we got, that's the, flight level out of the way, so all we've got left is Wizard Peak. And Wizard Peak is kind of unique in Spyro the Dragon. Some of you may remember the hit Nickelodeon series, The Amanda Show. The Amanda Show is a Dan Schneider production, who would later go on to create such hit series as Drake and Josh, Victorious, and iCarly. He probably works on the Thundermans too. I wouldn't be surprised. Basically, he makes crappy shows. But before he made crappy shows, he made a kind of a decent show that I have some fondness for, called The Amanda Show, which is like, I think it was a spin-off of All That, or I don't know. This was really kind of before my time. All That was a sketch comedy series. It starred such names as Jack Cena, who would later go on to voice Sokka in Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I don't know, I guess the Amanda Show either grew out from that or was a similar sketch comedy show, came out around the same time, starring Amanda Bynes, who, last we knew of, got arrested by cops after she smoked from a bong and tried to escape out the window. This is a real thing that happened, look it up. But before she was on rehab from former child star syndrome, like Lindsay Lohan and the rest. Unfortunately, not Leonardo DiCaprio. Amanda Bynes had a show called The Amanda Show, and the theme song for The Amanda Show, and those of you who've seen the Game Mavericks playthrough or the live stream I did a while back already know this, but the theme song to The Amanda Show is literally Wizard Peaks. I'm not kidding. The song that plays in this level is the Amanda Show theme song. Because the composer for the Amanda Bynes theme song is a guy named Stewart Copeland. And Stewart Copeland was a former, I think he was the drummer in the Police? I'm not sure. He was in a band called The Police, which is famous, and I'm sure people are like, "A band, it's the band, man."
Welcome to Wizard Peaks. This is my favorite supercharged spot. Use it to bash those wizards.
Thanks, old man. And I don't know, I think we'll probably make this part a little longer than usual. Kill these wizards real quick. Stewart Copeland, he was in a band called The Police back in the day, and for whatever reason, after making Disruptor didn't work out for Insomniac Games. I haven't even mentioned that. This is an early Insomniac Games release. This is the game that kind of propelled the company into the mainstream. More Spyro games and Ratchet and Clank games eventually sort of got them to be one of the biggest developers today, alongside the likes of Naughty Dog. But before that, they made a game called Disruptor, and Disruptor was like a first-person shooter, I think. And David Burgo composed for it, the composer from the Ratchet and Clank games composed for Disruptor. The original composer for Ratchet and Clank, I should say. Not the bad ones that only know how to make generic film score music. I'm talking about David Burgo, who is actually talented at making video game music. These are Ice Snorks, by the way. And they don't like the Druids, even though the Druids are also creations of Nasty Nork, because they're made from the gems.
Thank you for releasing me.
No problem, Clancy Brown. I'm Clancy Brown. I can only do a few voices.
Regardless. Up over here, there's 2 gems I missed. And we also have this, this level really likes to supercharge. It probably uses it the most effectively of any stage in the game. One thing that you may not realize about the supercharge the first time playing, and this threw me off my first couple 100% runs, which were a few years apart. When I did my first 100% run and when I did my second was a few years apart, is that the supercharge ability actually stacks. So if you run through 2 supercharged spots in a row, you're like, when you first run through it, a bunch of like smoke trails will come out of Spyro to show that he's going fast.
Listen carefully, Spyro.
There's a secret area in the artisan home. It is at the waterfall. Try jumping on the stones there.
Artisan home, waterfall. Sounds good.
Forgot what I was saying. I know. We'll go until we finish this world because we've done most of this level and the boss level is short. We might as well finish it off, go a little bit longer this time, so that when we start back up again, we'll have the entirety of the next world and everything. Yeah, that just makes sense to me, so that's what we're gonna do. But you know, when you first go down, as you can see, you get smoke trails. It starts out yellow, right? But they actually double down. So if you go up here to top of this one right here, we'll kill that thing to get a butterfly real quick. Run this way, and then as you can see, it changes color to red to indicate that you have a double charge. You need the double charge to make it up to this ledge over here. If you try just one, you're not gonna make it, and yeah, it took me a while to figure that out when I, you know, in my second playthrough and my first playthrough. So make sure that you're doing that. And again, it all goes back to that whole idea about how the strength of the platforming in this game is about figuring out how to get from point A to point B. I don't know. You know, trying to get to where the hidden goodies are. Trying to think outside the box so you can find the 1 or 2 gems you haven't found yet. You know what I'm saying? And this level does that very effectively. And somehow I'm missing shit. Even though I've been everywhere. There's gotta be an enemy I haven't killed yet in the first chunk of the stage. So we'll go back that way. Because with those upper levels, like, Wizard Peaks is really good. Like, this is... Magic Crafters is where Spyro 1 really starts to shine in terms of level design. The first 2 worlds are pretty basic, like fucking Dark Hollow, you can beat in like 5 seconds. But once you get to this point, this is where the game gets really good. Alright, so we need 2 more. Where could that possibly be? Yeah, but as you can see, like, I always thought it was really cool when I discovered this little area of the stage right here, because I didn't expect that this existed, for one thing, so that was fun. Spyro 1 is a really fun game. It's a great 3D platformer, it's a great collectathon. I highly recommend it. Yeah, but in terms of music, which I've been talking about, where the fuck are those gems? Could've swore. Should have found everything by now. Oh, are you kidding me? I missed that one? I'm not sure how, but alright, now we get to go all the way around. Hold on to your butts. I will say that the charge is a little bit slippery in this game. On later games, it's more instantaneous, where like when you press left or right, you're going there immediately. Whereas in this game, there's kind of like a bit of delay. Like the front end of Spyro will turn towards it, but the back end will kind of lag a little bit. That's what it feels. It's like steering a shopping cart, if you know what I mean. Where like the back end takes a little bit of while to catch up. And that's what trying to steer Spyro during his charge feels like. Anyways, yeah, all we got left is the boss, so let's go do that real quick, and we'll call it a part. Blowhard. Ironically, he does not give very good handsies. But, at any rate, Blowhard, I barely talked about this at all. The bosses in this game are pathetic. They kind of suck. I don't know, I guess they're better than Spyro 5's and Spyro 4's for sure. Spyro 4 only had one boss that was fucking terrible. But if you want my honest opinion, bosses in Spyro have always kind of been the worst part, no matter which game it is. They're not what I play the series for. They're there because they're in other games like this, so that's why they have to be there. If I had my way, probably wouldn't have had bosses, but anyways, what is, at least with the bosses in Spyro 1, you get a level out of it, you know what I'm saying? And in this case, the boss we've got is Blowhard, which is a wind wizard, who just kind of floats around and tries to shoot you with electricity, but he's so slow, he's never gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? You can get away from him really easily. Kill that guy real quick. Lose my train of thought. Yeah, but bosses are pretty damn easy in this game, and Blowhard is no exception. Honestly, I think he's maybe even easier than Dr. Shemp, because I don't think I've ever gotten hit by Blowhard.
Thanks for releasing me, Spyro. You have no idea how long I've been trapped in crystal. And, neither do I. Who are you again?
I'm out of here.
Oh, Spyro, you got no respect for your elders. Alright, yeah, more druids. So, getting back to the soundtrack, I guess. So, Stewart Copeland, former part of a band called The Police. Pretty famous artist, I'd say. People know who Stewart Copeland is. Somehow, Insomniac Games got him to compose for Spyro. He does all 3 games in the original trilogy on PlayStation. He worked on Enter the Dragonfly as well, which might actually be his best soundtrack for the series. And after that, he just kind of disappeared from doing games. I don't know, maybe he's done some other game soundtrack. I'm sure he's still making music to this day, but you know, for some reason they couldn't get him back for Hero's Tale. Maybe because Enter the Dragonfly was so abysmal. I have no idea how long I've been trapped in crystal. Okay. I'm not sure how that worked, but I'll take it. So we're gonna go get the last hit on Blowhard, and then that's. Oh, I guess we only had second hits. We gotta chase him around a little bit more. All the bosses in this game are kind of glorified chase sequences, where like the boss will keep trying to run away from you, and then you basically have to attack him when he's vulnerable. And the sound cut out again. Which is something that annoys me about the OSSC, I must say. It's becoming increasingly evident. Grab that, and that should be it, right? Yeah, we're done. Take the portal just this once. And yeah, the soundtrack and this Stewart Copeland's work in the Spyro series is very great and all. It is in terms of you know, the direction. Like, these games have a very unique sound that is very distinct. I don't think you could possibly find another game series that with soundtracks that sound like Spyro, basically. But in terms of the quality of the compositions in this first game, they're not all that great in my opinion. They're fine. There are those standout tracks in Spyro 1 that I should probably draw attention to, and one of them would be Alpine Ridge, which is the first level we played with the giant TWIP monsters, the yellow beasts. That song is really good. This one's fine. Usually the boss themes are better, but my favorite tracks I think we've still have yet to see, and yeah. Spyro 2 and 3 had much better soundtracks, and Spyro 4 had a pretty good soundtrack as well, possibly the best one of the bunch. So it gets better from here, but I do at least appreciate the stylism. That's the one thing that they really nailed. But at any rate, I think that was part 4 or 5. Thank you for joining me for these episodes. We'll see you guys in part 5. When we continue the playthrough, we're gonna go to the next world and basically keep going with the game. But for now, it's late and I need to stop. So I'll see you guys next time.